What's up, guys? We're back with another video. If you are new here, my name is Sammy and we're the Mermaid Gang. This is where you can come and suspend your disbelief. I am your favorite manifestation coach and your favorite YouTuber. So if you would like for me to help you dissolve whatever is between you and your manifestation, go ahead and sign up for coaching with me below. Okay, I want to talk about something. I feel like I'm always ranting. I'm not trying to rant, but it's like when my subscribers are coming to me because there are other teachers throwing around things like weapons, like the plague, like resistance. You can see from the title, I'm sure. We're talking about resistance. Either they don't know what resistance really is and they're just using the word because they've heard it and it's like popular. Or they're trying to scare you into having a problem that they can solve for a little bit of money. So I'm going to tell you, resistance is not the plague. Like, it's not this like invisible evil block that you need a special formula to get rid of. Resistance is not at all what they're referring to it as. I don't even know how they would explain resistance, but I'm going to explain resistance and what it really is. If I say you've got resistance to something, like when we're talking about the time it takes for something to manifest, and I say it depends on how much resistance you have to it versus how much repetition you need, right? So when I say that, what I mean is the amount of opposing thoughts you have to it. Resistance is opposing thoughts or belief towards what you are manifesting, okay? So if you are used to being broke your entire life and you're ready to be rich, okay? You can absolutely 100% be rich. But you have resistance to it, meaning you have opposing thoughts. What are opposing thoughts? What do opposing thoughts come from? Why do we have opposing thoughts / resistance? Because our brain, our mind, not our brain necessarily, it is our brain, but I'm speaking spiritual. Sorry, you can hear people driving through the water. It's freaking pouring, okay? We're in that weather. And now you can probably hear pouring. Okay, so when your mind is familiar with one thing and you want to tell it something different, the first thing it does, your mind and your subconscious mind, the first thing it does is say, oh, no. Here's what we're familiar with. We're familiar with this right here. You're trying to tell me this, but this is what I know. So I'm going to keep reminding you what I'm familiar with right here, okay? This is what we're familiar with. And those are your opposing thoughts. Your mind telling you what it's currently familiar with. But the good thing about repetition, which is why I will always stand by affirmations. I don't give a shit what anybody says. I will always stand by affirmations because what you do is you keep telling your mind, anyway, I'm rich. I am rich. I've always been rich. I'm always gonna be rich. I love being rich. I'm rich. I'm rich. I'm rich. I'm rich as fuck. I'm rich. I'm just rich. I'm a rich bitch. I'm just rich. I'm rich. I'm rich. And what you're doing is you are making your mind now familiar with I'm rich instead of I'm poor, okay? The repetition dissolves the resistance being the opposing thoughts. The more you make your mind familiar with the new thought, the less it's going to have the old thoughts because it's becoming less familiar with poor and more familiar with rich. Because rich is what you keep saying now. See, all this time before, you've been saying I'm poor, I'm broke, I can't pay this, I can't afford this, I can't buy this, I can't. But now you're saying something else over and over and over and over. You didn't get poor from not repeating it. You got poor because it's what you always said. It's the way you always reacted to everything. That was your answer to everything. I can't afford it. I can't buy it. I can't pay this bill. I don't have enough money. Those things made your mind familiar with that. So now you're going to familiarize your mind with I'm rich, I'm rich, I'm rich. And since you're saying it all the time now, The same way it became familiar with I'm poor, it's going to now become familiar with I'm rich, and it's going to let that, now poor is going to be unfamiliar, okay? It's going to be unfamiliar now, which is a changed assumption. That's all manifesting is. That's all resistance is. Resistance is the opposing thoughts you have towards what you are manifesting. You might have a lot of opposing thoughts at first because your mind is just constantly reminding you of what you are familiar with, what it is familiar with. It's telling you what it knows, and it's not in line with what you're trying to tell it. But the more you make it familiar with repetition, the less it's going to be familiar with the old belief, and the more it's going to be familiar with the new belief, because now this is what you're saying all the time, which is why I so heavily push for you to please try not to waver. Try not to waver. I understand that your mind is thinking these thoughts on its own. It's arguing with you, with your conscious mind. Your subconscious and your conscious are arguing because you're trying to introduce a new idea, and your subconscious is like, no, this is what I know. But if you will keep with the repetition, if you'll keep correcting it, keep making it familiar, that is when your mind is going to accept it. It is going to, because you repeating the same thing all the time, your mind is gonna get familiar with it. Reason why it takes people a lot of time, or some people, it takes some people a lot of time to get rid of the resistance, aka the opposing thoughts, to get to the manifestation, is because they let the opposing thoughts run them and cut them off and stop them because they think it's not working. I'm still having opposing thoughts. It's just because you are trying to retrain your mind to be familiar with something new, and you're not giving yourself enough repetition or time. Hence why the 10K challenge worked, or my repetition challenge, because I made it a challenge for you guys, and because it was a challenge, it was like a game to you, so you didn't care about the opposing thoughts. You just kept repeating anyway because you wanted to hit those numbers, or you wanted to meet the challenge, or whatever it was. It was a game to you, so you did it anyway. I need you to always treat it like a game if that's what makes you stick to it. Try not to waver. Trust that your repetition, the more you repeat, the more your brain, your mind, the more you repeat, the more your mind is going to be familiar with what you're repeating, and it's going to let go of the opposite that you're replacing. In scientific terms, build a new neural pathway, okay? That's what it means. It's becoming familiar. So you cut the way you get rid of resistance, what these teachers are throwing around like a freaking weapon. I don't understand why they're using it in the way they're using it. But the way you dissolve or get rid of resistance, aka opposing thoughts, is with repetition, which is going to lead me into my next video where we're going to talk about instant manifestation and is it possible. So I'm going to end it here. I hope this cleared up all of you who are confused and worried about this whole resistance debacle. That's all it is. It's just opposing thoughts, and the way you get rid of them is with repetition, okay? Keep saying your affirmations, don't give up, and stop searching for all this information. Just repeat, okay? Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And we out.